every athlete dreams of competing at the Olympics. People dream of watching the Olympics.
You cannot watch it. I mean, even if you're not into sports, you have to watch it.
There's no other event that eclipses the Olympics.
I would call it the ultimate world experience.
You can't beat the Olympics. The Olympics really is number one.
Welcome to JTV News. Thank you for joining us. I'm Ino Soman, and here are the headlines. The BVI Health Services Authority and the police are investigating a sudden death at People's Hospital emergency room.
Our internal processes are at work trying to ascertain what happened.
One government campaign urges all public officers to abide by the same standard.
And what we aspire as a public service is to deliver excellence. And that's something that's very important to us.
Government is still waiting on the $25 million line of credit. Elmore Stock High School teachers show appreciation for students with a surprise treat. Digicel Center of Excellence ends with a display of youth football skills. Plans underway to control wild animals and fowls in the BVI.
A population of approximately over 5,000 domestic fowls and approximately 2,000 cats.
East End Women's League remembers great BVI landers, and Chef Henry Prince demonstrates alkaline cooking in her Hot Trends feature. In news from the Caribbean, Parliament in Grenada has passed legislation to replace the Privy Council with the Caribbean Court of Justice as the island's final court of appeal. And Nespresso plans to bring back Cuban coffee to the United States for the first time in more than 50 years. In Mayo Clinic Medical Minute, urinary tract infections or UTIs are very common. Both adults and children are susceptible to UTIs, but women are at greatest risk. A Mayo Clinic expert will explain what you can do if you suspect you have a urinary tract infection. I'll have those details and more right after this. And now the news. The BVI Health Services Authority and the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force have launched separate investigations into the circumstances surrounding the sudden death of a woman at People's Hospital. Reports are that 48-year-old Huntamscott resident Valda Stewart, a chef by profession, died at People's Hospital on Monday night while waiting for emergency care. Stewart's mother took her to the hospital after she complained about feeling chest pains. Chairman of the BVI Health Services Authority, John Klein, told ZBVI Radio that he is waiting the outcome of the internal investigation before detailing what happened.
Investigation as to what happened is still ongoing internally, and right now I am not prepared to make any statement without the full knowledge of what took place. And our internal processes are at work trying to ascertain what happened. But we are very much aware, we are very much concerned, and we're doing everything we can to understand what happened.
That statement by the chairman of the BVI Health Services Authority was aired on the 22nd of June. He added that any hospital staff found to have been negligent will be held accountable. Hundreds of public officers gathered at the multi-purpose sports complex in Road Town to witness the launch of the One Government, One Identity, One Public Service campaign on Tuesday, June 21st. Ron Grant has more.
According to government, the One Government campaign outlines the values, principles, and standards that will govern all public officers who were introduced to the vision, mission, aim, principles, and behaviors to be embraced in a presentation shared by change leader Michelle Todman of Cerulean Consulting.
Over the last couple of years, what we've done is we have developed a mission, the vision, and values, and you will hear about all of those. But for the public service, our vision statement is very simple: public service excellence. And this is something you're going to see over the coming days and weeks, and you're going to hear about it and talk about it because we want to achieve excellence. One of the things that's important is as we go forward and decide what it is we're going to deliver as an organization, excellence is going to be a huge, huge part of that. So vision statements are meant to be aspirational, and what we aspire as a public service is to deliver excellence. And that's something that's very important to us.
Governor John Duncan, in his remarks, said, "A career as a public servant is about choice. It is about a decision to serve your community, whether it is only for a few years before going on to something else, or for a professional lifetime dedicated to making your community a better place, improving the services we provide to the public. It is not about the money. It is what it says on the tin: public service." The new logo for the government of the Virgin Islands, bearing the cabinet-approved Vigilante, was also revealed, and government's intranet portal was launched. Premier of the Virgin Islands, Honorable Dr. D. Orlando Smith, said the day marked the continuation of a journey towards success for the government of the Virgin Islands, as it demonstrates unity and strength as one government, one identity, delivering a unique brand of one public service. Premier Smith added, "Today we sound the clarion call that the transformation of our public service has begun, where there will be a marked change in the appearance and delivery of our service to the clients we serve." Ron Grant reporting for JTV News.
The government has not been able to access the $25 million line of credit from CIBC First Caribbean International Bank to provide working capital support for government. Responding to questions by the Leader of the Opposition, Julian Fraser, in the House of Assembly on June 23rd, Premier Dr. Orlando Smith revealed that CIBC is still working to complete the process, and he expects that the monies will be accessible in about a week.
CIBC First Caribbean International Bank, with whom we have this facility, is still completing its requisite internal procedures before this facility will be available for use by the government.
I'm not sure that I understand exactly what the Premier was saying regarding CIBC, why it hasn't been accessed as yet. But do you have any idea, Madam Speaker, when this will take place, the accessing will take place?
I expect it will take place within the next week or so.
The opposition leader also asked Premier Smith to explain why merchants and others are still not getting payments from the Treasury in a timely manner. The Premier said the delay is often caused when monies coming into the Treasury is low, and stressed that the $25 million line of credit would ensure that payments are made during those times.
Madam Speaker, as the Honourable Leader of the Opposition knows, the budget for government is made with anticipation of monies being collected during the year to meet established targets. However, because of the cyclical nature of receipts coming into government, there are times when inflow is low and all payments cannot be met at that time. Madam Speaker, these periods are followed by peak inflow periods when excess monies are received and all bills can then be honoured in a timely fashion. We are now, Madam Speaker, in a period of peak inflows and bills are being processed regularly. Madam Speaker, the credit facility of $25 million, which was approved by this House and not being finalized by CIBC, is for the sole purpose of supplementing those periods of low inflows in order to allow continued timely payment of bills.
The House of Assembly approved the $25 million line of credit from CIBC in April this year. Teachers of the Elmore Stout High School's Department of English, Literature and Theatre Arts held their first Student Appreciation Day on Friday, June 17th. The event was a surprise for students who would normally support teachers with their year-round fundraising activities through the purchase of water, snacks, and baked goods. However, the teachers said that as a surprise to the students, in showing appreciation for their continued support, the students received those very same items for free, all prepared by members of the English department. And the department will be holding its own in-house fundraising, which goes towards various initiatives, such as the ILA conference in Boston this summer. The event, dubbed an Evening of the Arts, will feature a wide variety of local artists, authors, and poets.
What we could expect at the Evening of the Arts?
Oh, there's a lot. There's a lot for us to expect, because what we want to do is to highlight the liberal arts field. A lot of times in our community, we highlight other aspects, but this time we want to put on display music, plays, poetry, dance. We want to put on, you know, a musical delight. You'll get to see Foxy Carwood, Elmore Stoughton, the Spark Plugs, Mrs. Eileen Parsons, she's going to do cultural storytelling. Dr. and Mrs. Charles Wheatley, they'll be doing some storytelling and poetry as well. The high school jazz band. And also we're going to have Orrin Hodge, he'll be vocally performing as well. We're going to have a lot of different entertainers, and we're also going to have students' work on display, their artistic works on display, because it's
high school students?
Yes, high school students. All proceeds will be going towards the conference, and not just the conference, but we have various initiatives of the English department that we would also like to put forth, different things that we need, like projectors, etc., going to the Literary and Debating Society, various things that we have going on in the department that we would like to also support.
The Evening of the Arts will be held at the Eileen Parsons Auditorium at HLSCC on Monday, June 27th, starting at 6:30 p.m. Students' exhibit will also be on display from 5:30 p.m. And participants of the Digicel Center of Excellence from Virgin Gorda and Tortola put on a gala performance in front of coaches, peers, family, and friends at the playing field in Boggers Bay. Nia Douglas has more.
As the BVI Football Association training program came to a close, the various age groups from under 7s right through to under 17s, boys and girls, showcased their newly honed technical skills and teamwork tactical plays in small-sided games. According to Thomas Albert, the head coach of the Virgin Gorda Center of Excellence, 20 to 25 kids have come out to the training program on a regular basis. Albert said, "I have seen a lot of progress, even more so today when I see the players I have worked with doing so well with their Tortola counterparts. The support of Digicel has been great, as have the efforts of all the coaches and parents." According to the BVIFA, the Digicel Center of Excellence has already produced dividends at the under 13 level when a team returned from a tournament in St. Martin with the best performance of any team the association had sent previously, unbeaten, but in third place following a penalty shootout loss. Andy Bickerton, the Football Association president, also commented that there was much to look forward to in football with the new stadium getting closer. When we start playing on the Astro and East End, things will get even better, as the surface will enable the youths to get even better technically, and we hope the partnership with Digicel will be a long-term one, Bickerton said. The under-17 boys are scheduled to participate in a CONCACAF Championship qualifier in Suriname at the end of July. Nia Douglas for JTV News.
And still to come on JTV News, government has a plan to reduce the vexing problem of stray animals and chickens.
Madam Speaker, there are a variety of methods, mechanical and chemical, that are available and that are currently being explored by the Department of Agriculture as something needs to be done.
And elders came together to share information about notable persons in various fields and trades in BVI's history.
To remind us how it used to be, lest we forget.
Why they don't open a place here that our young people can learn to build yachts?
Plus, we have alkaline cooking demonstration by gold medal chef Henry Prince. But first, we have news making headlines in the Caribbean. Welcome to JTV News Caribbean News Report. The Parliament in Grenada has passed legislation to replace the Privy Council with the Caribbean Court of Justice (CCJ) as the island's final court of appeal, but the issue will have to go to referendum before the move can be made. The next step is for the CCJ bill to be passed in the Senate with a simple majority. If the bill gets the Senate's nod, citizens would have to vote in a referendum. Barbados, Guyana, Dominica, and Belize are the only Caribbean community countries that have signed on to the appellate jurisdiction of the court. Residents of Antigua and Barbuda are due to vote in a referendum later this year on making the move from the London-based Privy Council to the Trinidad-based CCJ. Members of the Eastern Caribbean Telecommunications Authority, ECTEL, met in St. Vincent on June 22nd to consider a number of regulatory matters confronting the sub-region. According to the Antigua Observer, an ECTEL statement said these matters include issues of roaming, number portability, the Universal Service Fund, and new regulations contained in the Electronic Communication Bill. The three-day meeting brought together ECTEL's technical staff and the National Telecommunications Regulatory Commissions. ECTEL Managing Director Ember Charles said the meeting gave the National Telecommunications Regulatory Commissions an opportunity to review what has been done so far and provide their input based on instructions from the Council and Board. ECTEL serves as a telecommunication regulatory body for Dominica, Grenada, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The St. Lucia Labour Party, SLP, has confirmed a former Deputy Prime Minister as its new leader. Philip Pierre was also chosen by the party's elected members of parliament to serve as opposition leader. According to Caribbean 360, Pierre, one of only 6 SLP candidates to win their seats in the general elections held earlier this month, succeeds former Prime Minister Dr. Kenny Anthony. Anthony, who led the SLP for 2 decades, had made it clear after the SLP's 6-11 defeat at the hands of the United Workers' Party at the polls that he was stepping down as political leader and had no intention of serving as opposition leader. Pierre, the MP for Castries East, a constituency he has represented since 1997, will serve as political leader until the party's next convention, which is expected to be held in October or November. A leader will be elected at that meeting. And Nespresso plans to bring back Cuban coffee to the United States for the first time in more than 50 years. For more than 2 centuries, Cuba has produced some of the greatest Arabica coffee in the world. With fertile soil and ideal climate conditions, the country offers an excellent coffee growing environment. Nespresso is purchasing Arabica coffee this year that has been produced by Cuban farmers and aims to continue purchasing it in the coming years. Recent regulatory changes in the United States have allowed Nespresso to move forward with its plans. And coming up next on JTV News, plans underway to control wild animals and fowls in the BVI. East End Women's League remembers great BVI landers, and Chef Henry Prince demonstrates alkaline cooking in her Hot Trends feature.
To see it on your smartphone or to see it on your tablet.
I think that would be ideal, simply because my lifestyle is very on the go.
I'm on the move. I might be at work. I may have some time that I can actually view it, but I'm not close to a television.
You just can't be everywhere you need to be all the time, especially if you work.
So when we're out sailing on the water, somewhere we'll be connected and watching the event live. So it'll be great.
Welcome back to JTV News. Minister responsible for Agriculture, Dr. Kedrick Pickering, said he has a plan to intensify the reduction and elimination of stray animals, which have been forcing persons to make numerous complaints to his ministry and the Agriculture Department. Dr. Pickering said the Strategic Feral Animal Control Management Plan will target some 9,000 roaming cattle, stray dogs, wild cats, and fowls.
This plan provides a framework that involves action to minimize the negative economic and environmental impacts. It also takes into consideration public health issues that can be caused by wild, untamed, diseased animals. Madam Speaker, the goal of this plan is fourfold. Number 1, to reduce the wild fowl population in priority areas using efficient and applicable methods of control to limit the spread of infectious diseases and to reduce any negative impacts that they pose to the territory. Number 2, to reduce and eliminate the presence of roaming cattle. Number 3, to eliminate the number of stray dogs, firstly within the priority area and then throughout the entire territory. And number 4, to eliminate the wild cat population within the priority areas and then throughout the entire territory.
In a statement to the House of Assembly, Dr. Pickering said something needs to be done and various methods are being used to reduce or eliminate wild animals and chickens.
Madam Speaker, the estimated numbers of feral populations within the territory are as follows. There's an estimation that there are over 1,500 stray dogs, over 500 cattle that continue to roam untamed, a population of approximately over 5,000 domestic fowls, and approximately 2,000 cats. Madam Speaker, there are a variety of methods, mechanical and chemical, that are available and that are currently being explored by the Department of Agriculture as something needs to be done. Regarding the chickens, we're looking at a custom-made device in which the chickens are trapped. And this consists of a trap made of wire mesh with a swinging door which closes down after the chickens enter. There's also the tried and true method that is more familiar to us, which is to wait until the chickens are roosting for the night and then have them snatched away. Their diminished eyesight at night makes this a viable option. Now, as it concerns the feral dog and cat population, the department continues to set baited traps in priority areas. These animals are properly disposed of when caught. And as it relates to the cattle population, the department continues to use casting techniques and correlate.
Dr. Pickering said the Department of Agriculture has always been reducing the stray animal population, but the efforts are now being intensified to alleviate what he called a vexing problem. The East End Women's League put together a panel of elders to discuss the topic of notable British Virgin Islanders and their contribution to the history and development of our territory. Nia Douglas has this report from the Long Look Methodist Church.
The East End Women's League accommodated a number of guests during this special meeting who ventured to the Long Look Methodist Church in hopes of gaining knowledge from the panel of elders who discussed notable persons across fields and trades in British Virgin Islands history.
This is an important discussion because during the last 100 years, the territory has experienced phenomenal change, and our distinguished panelists are well qualified by their experience to remind us how it used to be, lest we forget.
The panel consisted of Ms. Ermine Penn, known for her work in preserving and promoting Virgin Islands culture, educator Quincy Letzum, former public servant and talk show host Douglas Wheatley, and notable fisherman Erman Thomas. Penn was the first of the four panelists to speak. Not only did Penn acknowledge the great craft makers of the BVI, including prominent shoemakers, she also ensured that everyone understood the essential role crafts play from a societal standpoint.
So I want you to understand how important it is to see the economics in it all. People just don't create craft simply because you need something. In order to wear a hat, you have to have something to cover your head from the sun or the rain. But you also create the hat because even if it's through battering, you may need the hat, but you may also need bananas. And somebody who may need your hat even more than you do may be happy to give you the bananas. All of that was part and parcel of our economic way of survival in the Virgin Islands.
Quincy Lettsam, beginning in 1848 with the missionaries of the Methodist Church, gave a detailed account of major figures in the history of Virgin Islands education, many of whom have institutions named in their honor. Erman Thomas spoke passionately about shipbuilding as an integral part of Virgin Islands culture and expressed remorse at the fact that in a country where boat building once thrived, there is now a reliance on the importation of boats and other goods.
Why they don't open a place here that our young people can learn to build yachts? What do we have in the British Virgin Islands that we can say this was made in the BVI? If you take up a handkerchief store, made in China, made in Japan, something made in, it wasn't made in the British Virgin Islands.
Douglas Wheatley entertained the crowd by telling the stories of the Virgin Islanders who stood up and had a voice, hoping to remind Virgin Islanders to adapt the same attitude that their ancestors had in order to maintain control of the community.
So I'm not saying that we have to be rude or anything like that, but I think we have to stand up for our rights. And that is the tradition that we have come from, but something has happened over the last several years, and we are no longer that kind of a people. And we need something to strengthen our backbones so that going forward we'll be able to stand up and fight for what we believe in.
The League recognized that eminent mason and contractor Beresford Smith was initially part of the panel but was unable to attend. Panelist Ermine Penn spoke highly of Smith and noted that she had written about his achievements and contribution to architecture in the BVI. The night ended with a sharing of memories and other combined knowledge from panelists, guests, and members of the League.
Nia Douglas reporting from the Methodist Church in Long Look. Church.
The theme for this year's Territory Day, celebrated on July 1st, is Our Story, the Independent Spirit of Our People. Representative for the 5th District and Chairperson of the Territory Day Celebrations Committee, Dolores Christopher, and committee member Vincent Wheatley appeared on JTV Spotlight this week to discuss exactly what the public can expect to see at this upcoming Territory Day.
What are we going to have on that day? What special events are we planning to have that's going to make us feel a sense of patriotism on July 4th, Friday, July 4th?
Before you get to that day, it is Territory Day, like Honorable Christopher said. A lot of folks ask you, what is Territory Day really all about? Oftentimes nobody can really say what Territory Day is really all about. So under our chairmanship over the last few years, we've tried to highlight the Territory's history as an integral part of why we are celebrating Territories Day. In every single year, what we've tried to do is to highlight a specific part of our history in tune with the particular theme for that year. Now the theme for this year is the independent spirit of our people. So we've chosen some particular instances in our history that brings out that independent spirit. And that's what we're trying to do this year. And this year we've chosen 3 particular themes to bring out that thread of the independent spirit of our people. We're looking at Nottingham Estate, that whole historical aspect. We're looking at the Kingston Church with the freed African slaves, and we're looking at a particular story involving Christopher Fleming.
Wheatley also noted the importance of having such historical dramatizations as Virgin Islands history, and its significance is seldom explained and told. This year's Territory Day will also feature the official presentation of the new Virgin Islands Territorial Pledge, which is of great significance according to Honorable Christopher.
Similar to the song, you're pledging your allegiance to the country. You're pledging to help your brother and your sister, fellow men, fellow Virgin Islanders, in many ways. You're pledging to be true to God, as you know, that's what all of us want to do. And, to continue to be living in an environment that says justice for everyone, justice for all.
Okay. So we want to make sure that as a people, we feel connected to our country.
Yes.
The House of Assembly approved the pledge on Thursday, the 23rd of June. The pledge reads, I pledge to my country, the territory of the Virgin Islands, to encourage national pride and dignity, render patriotic service, promote justice for all, be true to God, and remain dedicated to these Virgin Islands. Territory Day 2016 will be celebrated on Friday, July 1st, beginning at 9 a.m. at the Central Administration Building. The public is encouraged to dress in Virgin Islands territorial wear. And in our Hot Trends feature, gold medal chef Henry Prince challenges how we prepare our food traditionally and introduces alkaline cooking with a culinary demonstration during the National Parks Trust Flower and Garden Festival at the Botanic Gardens.
Who here knows what alkaline cooking is? Anybody? Alkaline cooking. So we're going to combine this fish with some asparagus and some kale. This is part of the alkaline cooking. Some parts of the food have to be raw, you don't overcook it, and then you combine it with a food that is fully cooked, and so you have some rawness. And why are we eating raw food? Could anybody tell me the reason why we want to have it raw? All the enzymes and everything will be in it, so that when you eat your food, right, you can digest this food very quickly because all the enzymes, right? If you eat this alone with potato, right, you will just put 1 year onto your life, but just eating it this way with some potatoes, right? You know, or fish, because you understand now for the alkaline cooking, you could eat the same salad with some potatoes or some rice or with a piece of meat, but you never combine them all together, right? That's the difference, right? Let me see if I can get our salmon out. Okay, so we just laid on there some beautiful little leaves and stick them all on the top here. Okay, I'm just gonna set these on top. And you notice we're getting different colors on this dish, right, as we go, right? Nice dollop. This is olive oil processed mayonnaise with some low sodium ketchup and some grainy mustard, right? And that's it, and that's our dish, and that's our alkaline dish. If you eat this food, you're good to go. You're gonna sleep well. You know, you're gonna have so much energy. And you know you're going to start feeling well.
You can catch the entire presentation on alkaline cooking by Chef Henry Prince and much more on JTV's Hot Trends, seen right here on Wednesdays at 8 p.m. and Fridays at 9:30 p.m. And next in Mayo Clinic Medical Minute, urinary tract infections or UTIs are very common and can be painful, causing discomfort and fever.
Cranberry juice. Many people reach for it to treat urinary tract infection or UTI symptoms such as painful urination and frequency.
And if it's getting better, then they're doing the right things.
Dr. Geronimo Jones is next with that report that explains what you should do if you have a UTI. Stay tuned.
Eureka, located in the British Virgin Islands. Come, discover Eureka Medical Clinic, which provides the most complete medical services in the Virgin Islands. Our state-of-the-art clinic offers the highest quality in specialty care, cardiology, gastroenterology, orthopedics, and spinal surgery. We also offer specialty care in obstetrics and gynecology, as well as dermatology. Eureka Medical Clinic offers diagnostic procedures such as x-rays, mammograms, CAT scans, and all forms of ultrasound exams. Now, for the first time in the BVI, Eureka offers MRI scanning too. With colonoscopy and gastroscopy, we check the intestines and stomach for polyps, colon cancer, and ulcers too. Located at Geneva Place in the heart of Road Town, Eureka Medical Clinic with Medicare Pharmacy and Labs offers you a comprehensive medical facility all under one roof. So for high-quality medical services and convenience, there's no need to look any further. Eureka, you found it.
UTIs are very common. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services reports that UTIs are responsible for 8.1 million trips to the healthcare providers each year. All adults and children are susceptible to UTIs, but women are at a greater risk. Symptoms vary from the severity of infection and include pain when urinating, abdominal discomfort, and fever. In this Mayo Clinic Minute, reporter Vivian Williams talks to the Mayo Clinic expert about what to do if you suspect you have a urinary tract infection.
Cranberry juice. Many people reach for it to treat urinary tract infection or UTI symptoms such as painful urination and frequency.
And if it's getting better, then they're doing the right things. When it's not, when it's progressing to them noticing blood in their urine, if they're getting fever, if they're getting some low back pain.
Then, says Mayo Clinic family medicine specialist Dr. Summer Allen, it's time to see a healthcare provider to determine if you need antibiotics, which are the first line of treatment for UTIs. The type of antibiotic you take depends on the type of bacteria found in your urine. And Dr. Allen says the most common culprits are
the E. coli, bacteria.
Anyone can get a UTI, but women are at highest risk. If you develop symptoms that won't go away, see your healthcare provider for evaluation and treatment to prevent a serious infection. For the Mayo Clinic News Network, I'm Vivian Williams.
Before we go, a brief look at the main headlines. The BVI Health Services Authority and the police are investigating a sudden death at People's Hospital emergency room. One government campaign urges all public officers to abide by the same standard. Government is still waiting on the $25 million line of credit. Elmore Stout High School teachers show appreciation for students with a surprise treat. Digicel Center of Excellence ends with a display of youth football skills. Plans underway to control wild animals and fowls in the BVI. East End Women's League remembers great BVI landers, and Chef Henry Prince demonstrates alkaline cooking in her Hot Trends feature. In news from the Caribbean, Parliament in Grenada has passed legislation to replace the Privy Council with the Caribbean Court of Justice as the island's final court of appeal. And Nespresso plans to bring back Cuban coffee to the United States for the first time in more than 50 years. Just a reminder that you can find all the news stories featured in this newscast as well as previous newscasts on our website jtvlive.net. Additional information and news updates can be found on our Facebook page, facebook.com/jtv55. If you haven't already, please visit our Facebook page and let us know that you like us. Of course, all our news features, press conferences, and JTV's television programs can be found on our JTV News YouTube channel. You can subscribe for daily uploads. We welcome your questions and comments. You can email us at jtvnews@hotmail.com. For the entire news team, I'm Mino Soman. Thank you for watching.